You are now listening to the sounds of Mood Swing Music Group.
Hey yo, welcome back to the channel, man, and today we're going to be working on the Mackie 1604 VLZ Pro, cleaning this baby up and getting it back into working condition. And here's the tools that I used on this project. And right here, man, I noticed that I was missing a knob on there. And these just some pictures, man, just to show you what condition it was in before I started working on it. It was pretty dirty. You can see the dust on that little protector right there in between the mixer faders and stuff. So right here, man, what I'm doing is I got my paintbrush and I'm breaking everything free. It's a lot of dust and stuff in here, so I'm breaking it all free so that I can actually loosen it all so that it's able for me to get it out of there. That's why I don't use so much canned air on situations like this, because what I noticed was this dust was had got to that sticky point where it was stuck all over it. So it needed to be aggressively moved. So I used that brush there to get everything loosened up, and you'll see me, man, I'm just gonna go through here and really just loosen everything up on the entire board and get it ready for me to get it off of there. And as you can see, man, you just got to be real meticulous with it and don't miss anything. That way you don't have to go back in there, doing it later. I figured this is my first time ever doing it. I had this board 20 some odd years. I probably won't ever do it again. So do it right the first time. You don't have to backtrack. And right here, man, I'm testing all these faders because I noticed some of them were sticking. And I'm taking the vacuum right now. Everything that I loosened, I'm vacuuming it up. I didn't want to blow the dust off of it like you see most people do. I always want to suck all that dust up because I'm actually doing this job inside of my studio, and I don't want that dirt to contaminate no other equipment in my studio. And right here, man, I got the Deoxit D5, and I'm about to start basically getting these faders and stuff all worked in and get them all loosened up, because they pretty tight right now, man, where that dust got in there and kind of bind it up with the lubricants that was in there originally, and now they just really tight. So what I'm gonna do now is get this Deoxit D5 on there and then work it in. And after I work these in, I'm gonna go and take all of the rest of the buttons off, and then we'll do the Deoxit D5 on all of the buttons and all of the knobs until they all start performing like they should. And you just have to work it in until they start working until they get real smooth. And right here, I'm just taking a microfiber cloth and I'm just wiping off the excess. And right here, man, I'm using the toothpicks to get any grind out of there that I can actually physically see. Sometimes you can see some little dust balls in there, and you take those toothpicks and you can just pick them right out of there, and instead of trying to use anything else, that toothpick get right down in that fade and you can just pick it right out of there. And also those toothpicks, I use those toothpicks to clean out the XLRs to the XLR connections on the back of the mixer. And right here, man, I'm taking these buttons off, and what you want to do, because these buttons are the type buttons that you can depress, I actually depressed all of them so that they would be out already, so that I wouldn't pry against any of them that were already pressed in. So, and what I'm doing, I'm not really prying, I'm giving it just a little nudge, just so it'll start to move, and then I pull it the rest of the way with my finger. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on them. You gotta remember they're about 20-something odd years old, and I don't feel like soldering no new ones on there. And before I opened this thing up and ever took it apart, while it was dirty and everything, I took it and plugged it up, man, and did some testing on it on my test bench, and noticed that quite a few of the knobs had static in them. Quite a few of the faders had static in them. So right here you see me coming back with the Deoxit D5, and I'm going over each one of these knobs and buttons, and you have to turn them both directions until they loosen up. And they don't really loosen up, they just kind of get free, and then you can actually feel that unity click in the middle again. At first you couldn't even feel the unity click, they were so kind of grimy and dirty, I guess, in there. But the contact cleaner, it actually frees them up, and once I got done, I had no static and no knobs or buttons whatsoever. And right here I got all my ribbon cables attached, and that last cable you see me grabbing is the actual cable from the power supply. And I'm hooking it to the board, and now we're getting ready to put this baby back together. And it gets a little tricky right here because you have to get it past that one. It's a plug over there for a light to go on. You have to get it past that plug. Once you get it past that, you can line it up, and it pretty much falls right into place. And then once I get it to fall into place, I'm just gonna take two of these little bitty screws that go in the front panel, and I'm gonna put one in the center at the bottom right there, and then I'll take another one once I get it back in there, and I'll put it at the top in the center, and basically those two will hold the entire board in until I can get the rest of the screws in. So now I can just lay it down and finish putting the screws in and, attaching the front panel to the board. And I'm just testing some of the buttons just to make sure they are working and stuff. This job in total, man, it probably took me about maybe about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours to complete totally. And it's just one of those things, man. You just got to get into it, man. You can't be scared to take it apart. You got to just make sure you got all the tools, proper tools for it and everything. And, you should be fine, man. Right here, man, you see I'm putting the knobs back on. Now those knobs were all clean. What I do with the knobs, I put them in, I get some really hot water. I get a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid and a little bit of vinegar. And I just put all of the buttons in there and let them soak for about 6 hours. Once they done soaking, you can take them and rinse them off. You don't even have to use the toothbrush on them. They come super clean. They look brand new, as you can see. And then on the back panel, I actually did some work in that back panel too. I didn't record it. Didn't realize my camera wasn't recording, but I opened that back panel up and I serviced all of the 1/4-inch jacks and all of the XLRs. The XLRs I cleaned with the paintbrush and toothpicks, and all of the 1/4-inch jacks I cleaned them with the cotton swabs and deoxit. So I sprayed the deoxit on the cotton swab and did each 1/4-inch jack separately. And right now, man, I'm just putting the buttons back on it, man, and buttons and knobs, and we pretty much done. I'm done with the actual servicing of this mixer, man. I mean, it's not a hard job. The biggest thing about a mixer like this, if you don't have to solder anything, and I didn't, is cleaning everything. You need to make sure you clean all the dirt out, and you need to make sure you put Deoxit D5 or Deoxit D5 Gold on all of your switches and knobs and faders, so that you don't have any static or anything like that, because the connection is very important, and that Deoxit cleans the connectors up. And I also put sprayed Deoxit inside of those ribbon connectors too. That was on the inside that attached the board to the power supply and to the jacks and stuff on the back on the XLRs and stuff. So it's fully serviced, man. I mean, it's fully done. I cleaned everything. I didn't have to use my soldering equipment. Everything is done. Everything is clean. Everything is like new, as you can see. And this mixer right here, man, I'm gonna be using it for my MPCs, just to run my MPCs through, so that I can run them into Logic as hot as I want to run them into Logic, and not have to use so many plug-ins on my beats when I run them from the MPCs. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. That's just how you service a 16-channel Mackie 1604 VLZ Pro mixer. If you like what you saw on the channel, man, like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? I do this type of work all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. And that's just what it is, man. And right here, man, I'm showing the back panel how clean it is. And I cleaned everything up meticulously, inside and out. I didn't record it because I thought I was recording it, but I wasn't. But I cleaned everything inside and out, man. This baby is like brand new. And like I always say, man, you got to not be scared of your equipment. You got to get in the lab and work on it, man, because ain't nobody else going to do it for you. And if they do, they going to charge you. And there go the finished product right there, man, ready to go, ready for the MPCs to be hooked to it. So like I always say, man, don't just be a producer, be productive. Get in the studio, be working on something. Whatever you working on, make sure it's making you better than you was the last time, making sure you better than you was a year ago today. And man, peace.